Hello beloved, how are you? My name is Syma and I'm an international spiritual coach, healer, goddess guide, yoga teacher, writer and speaker. You can learn about me at my website flourishinglotus.com. What I would love to share with you today are some tips about healing any father issues, because Father's Day is coming up as I'm making this video, and I'm doing a free monthly distant healing. I do free healings every single month, and I usually pick a theme of that month to do the healing for. So the one that's coming up will be for June 21st, 2015, which will be the solstice as well as Father's Day. And because I've been working with my clients so much on manifesting soulmate love, on becoming successful in their businesses, manifesting dream jobs, and just coming into pure self-love and healing blocks to the things that they want to create and experience in their lives, one of the key themes, especially as I work mainly with women, is that the wounds that we carry with us from our childhood continue to play out unconsciously in our adult lives. And, you know, again, with Father's Day coming up, I was really inspired to specifically focus on the father wounds that we internalize, that we unfortunately receive from our childhood. And this topic is really dear to my own heart because father healing has been a tremendous part of my own healing journey, and I think has a lot to do with why I ended up doing the work that I do. So I'm grateful for the experiences that led me to commit to my path of becoming a healer, but there was a lot of turmoil, a lot of trauma, and intensive healing that had to happen throughout my life in order for me to heal it all, transform these old patterns that were really self-sabotaging, and create the beautiful life that I've been blessed to create now. So one thing to first realize when we want to go on the journey of healing our father wounds is to first understand why it's so significant to be aware of this. Our fathers are the first man in our lives. So for us girls, our father, whether he's there or not, and how he fathers us, has everything to do in our childhood with our sense of self-esteem, stability, worthiness, self-value, self-empowerment. Depending on the relationship that we had with our fathers, it can really either give us the confidence and the faith and the trust and the self-esteem that we need to thrive throughout our lives, to have healthy relationships with other men in our lives, to have healthy masculine, feminine energy within ourselves, to know that we are competent, to be confident, to know that we are provided for, safe, secure, and supported. Or if there were issues, as most of us have with our fathers, then it can lead to us needing to heal in these areas, to find our balance, and to ensure that we're not allowing the wounds of our childhood to continue to influence us in our adult lives. So what I want to share with you next are some very specific wounds that we carry based on certain kinds of father-daughter relationships. So the first is the absent father. This is a father who might be not present in your life, a father that maybe you never knew, or a father that is there but emotionally very absent. So what this does, the wound that it gives to us, is the wound of complete lack of self-worth and not feeling enough, not feeling loved or worthy of being cherished or adored, and feeling unlovable, like I wasn't chosen, I'm not enough, and therefore, my father isn't present and isn't there for me. And so it really, really takes a toll on our inherent self-esteem. How this can influence us as we grow is that it can make us become really clingy in relationships. So, friendships, but especially relationships with men, boyfriends, and partners, husbands. So we can become very clingy, we can become really needy, jealous, overprotective, and possessive. And unfortunately, because of these kinds of behaviors, we end up creating the very thing that we're afraid of, which is abandonment. So it really just creates a lot of insecurity, because we're always trying to win the approval of this absent, emotionally unavailable father figure. And the other thing that can happen is, because we're trying so hard to prove our worth, that we might end up becoming perfectionists. We might end up feeling that we have to do all the work and give and become in relationships what's known as the archetypes of the pleaser or the rescuer. So always picking guys who need a lot of support and help and rescuing, and maybe, we give them money or use our bodies sexually to get that intimacy and connection that we're really craving, and affection that we need, as every girl needs and as every woman needs. But of course, there are healthier ways to go about this. So I'll be sharing a little later how we can begin to heal these various wounds that we carry. But that's one of the first ones that I wanted to share. The next one is the wound that we carry from a father who was unreliable, a father who broke a lot of promises, and especially a father who was not there to provide and protect, because that's one of the primary masculine energies, with a father figure, is he helps us establish our sense of support and security and protection and safety. So this also influences ultimately our idea or sense of the universe or life or God, however you relate to spirit and life at large. Being a supportive, kind, benevolent, protective, and generous force in your life. So if a father was not reliable, who he didn't provide and didn't protect, it ends up making us not feel like we have a sense of stability and support and reliability, and it doesn't make us feel that we are necessarily able to create that for ourselves, because we never quite learned that. Now, hopefully, if we have a really strong, mother who is able to model that for us, then, it can definitely help balance that out. But I'm just focusing specifically on typically what would happen with that kind of dynamic. So when we grow older, what can happen is we end up being attracted to older men especially who might be able to provide for us our material needs. And, it's sometimes when you see a younger woman with a much older, wealthier man, it's just this need to have a daddy figure, a father figure who will support us and provide for us and ultimately help us feel safe and secure. So again, this is something that we can do for ourselves. We have to learn to become our own heroes. We have to learn that the divine, our higher self, our own inner resourcefulness and skills and gifts and competencies and creativity and passion can be and is meant to be the source of our supply and our good and our protection. And so we become our own protectors and our providers. But in terms of the damage that can do for us with a father who's not there to establish that for us, that's the healing that we need to focus on. The next is, a little harder. It's physically and emotionally abusive father. So this is a really deep wound. It really affects us, not just mentally and emotionally, but also energetically and physically. It can be very, very damaging to our nervous system, our immune system, and really influence our mental, emotional, physical health throughout our lives if we don't focus on healing the damage that was done to us in our childhood or in our teens with abusive fathers. And this wound is one that we should really make sure that we get all the support that we need to heal, because if left unhealed and unacknowledged, we can be left with this trauma in ourselves and keep reenacting it out unconsciously in our relationships. And studies consistently show that women will end up marrying men who resemble many attributes and end up creating the same dynamic that we had with our fathers earlier in our lives. So we definitely don't want to recreate abusive relationships if that's what we had in our childhood with our fathers. This was something that was extremely key for me for my own healing, because my father was very physically and emotionally abusive towards me, my mom, and my other siblings. And healing that was so necessary, because when I hadn't healed it, I just lived my life feeling like a victim, feeling very powerless and weak, and I got picked on throughout school as a child, was really introverted and isolated, and in my father's absence there was a lot of sexual abuse by other men who he allowed to come in and out of the house. So I'm going to get to sexual abuse a bit later, but that's an extremely traumatic, in a way, the ultimate wound that a woman can experience, or especially a child. So it's so essential that we make sure that we understand how this damaged us, the wound that it left in us, and grieve it and heal it and transform it and transcend it, because otherwise we'll continue to attract people throughout our lives, who will bully us, abuse us and take advantage of their power and really push us and test our own ability to stand in our own authority. And so one of the keys here is to take back our power and to know that we hold the power in our lives, we are the authority figure in our lives, and to not wait on anyone else to give us the green light in our lives, to know that we are perfect, whole, complete, worthy, lovable, loved, as holy children of a beautiful creator, of an all-loving creator. And so the work here is to reparent ourselves so compassionately and so lovingly so that we know how worthy we truly are, that we never deserve to be hurt and definitely never abused and mistreated, and that we deserve to have really high standards and honoring boundaries for the relationships that we establish in our lives. So I really hope that you will commit to that for yourself. And, of course, I'm a spiritual healer, and I really focus on helping us to heal the ways unconsciously and energetically, spiritually, and even karmically we are influenced with these patterns. With my father, I did do a lot of healing from this lifetime, but it still was playing out. I had really abusive bosses, and I realized that I had to go into past lives where I learned that through many lives I've had a lot of issues with authority figures punishing me. And so that was a big soul lesson that I came to heal and transform in this life. And I'm really grateful that I did that, really crazy, intense, deep inner healing spiritual work, because it's led me to lead extremely toxic corporate work for about 10 years and do the work that I love, which is supporting and empowering women to transform their lives with their sacred feminine and spiritual strengths, and to have a husband that absolutely cherishes and adores and empowers and honors me in every way, and to be my own boss and to be in my own power, to create my own wealth and abundance. But it was a really, really long and dark and intense road getting there. So it didn't happen overnight, and it took a lot of inner work to get there. So, if you need support with that, please reach out to me. I'll make sure that I leave some info at the end of the video for you to contact me. And as I was saying earlier, the final thing I want to focus on is the wound of sexual abuse, which is the ultimate betrayal and probably the deepest wound we can receive and experience as girls, as children. And if this has been your experience, please, please, please get support, because it's just the ultimate betrayal. And this just leads us to, it can be so traumatizing that we actually don't remember it, and only through therapy and counseling and healing work do we uncover the traumatic experiences of sexual abuse. But it absolutely and completely damages our sense of self, our relationship with our body, and our sense of trust. So we can spend the rest of our lives having a fear of intimacy, guilt, and self-loathing, and shame, and really, really, really damage us in so many ways. And so it's so, so imperative that we really focus on healing that wound, because no matter what happened to us, it was our father's complete unconscious deviant behavior, and we have the right to heal that so that we can be free of that guilt and shame and self-loathing and create healthy and happy and balanced and honoring relationships for ourselves for the rest of our lives. So, if that's been your experience, I'm here for you. There's a lot of resources on my website that are free. Heal Your Heart, a lot of self-love videos, chakra healing videos that will help you energetically. I do a lot of goddess work, which will be so powerful if you're interested in discussing that. So just please make sure that you get some kind of help and continue in the healing journey there, because it's imperative that we do that, because you deserve it. So some steps I want to share in order to heal our father issues, which again, as I was saying, ultimately determine how we connect with our own masculine energy, men in our lives, and then our sense of life in the universe, creator, God, being a force or a source of love, support, protection, or a force to fear or not be able to trust or rely on or to prove ourselves to. So I hope that you gained a lot of insight from some of the dynamics that I shared and how they influence us. But I want to really quickly take you through a process of how you can really go deeper with this. So one of the first things to do is just to acknowledge your feelings. Based on what happened, what your experiences were, give yourself full permission to grieve, to have rage, to just feel the full force of emotions that come up for you when you think about your father and your experiences with him. And then the second thing then is to ask yourself, okay, so what negative and false conclusions and emotions and beliefs did I begin to take on from childhood as a result of my experiences with my father? And then go deeper and notice and reflect on how this has played out unconsciously in other relationships and in other parts of your life, in your love life with men, in your business, in your career, in your friendships, in your own sense of confidence, self-esteem, self-empowerment, stability, support, security, and abundance. These are all issues that are affected with our father relationships. And then choose to decide that, what lesson am I meant to learn? How can I transcend these patterns that no longer serve me? And when I do healing work, I take you through a really spiritual journey where, again, we might even go into past lives and look at things, but really helping you to learn the soul lesson. There's often a karmic, lesson or agreement that's playing out. So it's really key to go really deep. And even, if you are open to it, do some spiritual work around the lesson that you can learn to completely not just heal and transform, but transcend the patterns that were created for you. And of course, one of the most essential parts of any healing work is forgiveness. And please remember that you're not forgiving and condoning your father for what he did, but what you're saying and affirming to yourself is that no matter what he did, no matter what he didn't do, I am no longer willing to suffer for it. And I'm no longer willing for that to influence negatively any part of my life. I deserve to be free, and I deserve to have a healthy and happy and abundant, prosperous, love-filled life. So I forgive for myself. And that's what I want you to focus on when you do the forgiveness work. And that will be so freeing for you. Again, it's something I can really help you with if you need some more support with that. And then, just cut any toxic cords. It's an energetic concept of cutting energetic cords where we give away our power, not just to your father, but to any other authority figures that you have a power struggle or imbalance with. So I had to do this a lot with, previous bosses. So cut your cords, reclaim and take back your power, and stand in your own divine worth and value, and then reparent yourself. Become your own hero, become your own father figure, your provider, your protector, your supporter, the one who cherishes and adores and loves you unconditionally, someone that you can always rely on and trust and know that you'll be supported. Become that for yourself and open to that from the divine, from your Father God, Mother Goddess, Creator, however you relate with the divine. And affirm and know that it is safe and right and meant and destined for you to have the most healthy relationship with yourself, with your body, with your heart, with life, with other men, with other people, and in every possible way. So I hope that these tips have been helpful to you. Again, I know that there can be a lot of trauma that happens, a lot of disappointments and betrayals and broken promises and fear and patterns that we take on, but nothing is insurmountable, nothing is unhealable. I believe you can even change the past. And in my past life healing work and inner child healing work, I help you do that because you do have the power to change your past, and you have the power to transform the way that it's influencing you and your feelings and reactions around them. And so that does change your life completely from the inside out, and it gives you a present and a future that you deserve. So if you need some more support with this, please feel free to reach out for me for a spiritual coaching, healing, or goddess session. And please let me support you every month for free with my distant healing sessions. If you watch this video and you can be on time, definitely join me on Sunday, June 21st, 2015. You'll find details. I'll put a link up here for you in the video. And I also offer a Heal Your Heart Infinite Love meditation on my website that I would love for you to pick up. So I just hope that these insights, these tools and practices, and some more resources that I would love for you to receive from me will really support you on your path of healing, not just whatever you need to heal with your father, but in your own life, in every part of your life. I love you. I'm sending you so many blessings, and I pray that may you be fully and completely supported in all ways as you heal all that you need to transform your blocks and your painful patterns and experience and manifest the beautiful, blissful, love-filled life that you were meant to. Namaste.